Hey everybody, it's time for Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit 1991's My Girl. So, be sure your grandma is locked up and give your prostate a check because our show is about to begin.
Welcome everyone to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
And Brian, I think that you might have crossed a line right
What?
there.
Which line?
Lock up your grandmother and check your prostate? What the?
These are things that happen, these are the cautionary tales of My Girl.
So we begin as we always do.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Brian, so tell us.
This movie came out in November 27th, 1991. I'm guessing it was Thanksgiving Day or something, on the Friday of Thanksgiving weekend. So I did see this.
I never thought of that for a Thanksgiving movie before. But
yeah, it feels very summer.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I did, not to brag.
Okay, let's hear it.
I did see this in a movie theater.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Written by Laurice Alawani and directed by Howard Zeif. Yeah, I saw this in the movie theater. I don't know who I saw it with. It's not really important. But I was smitten with this little movie. I liked it. I loved her. I will say one thing that a couple of things that bothered me, or not bothered me, that surprised me negatively, I'll say that, is that I truly thought, I thought the adult characters were going to be a little more interesting and fun, and like it felt, the way this movie was pitched, it was like Macauley Culkin and like this like these little precocious kids and how fun this movie's going to be. You mentioned this with our Harry and the Hendersons episode where things take a turn, and the turn didn't bother me as much as the adult characters. I just remember being like, oh, this isn't like a Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis movie. This is a Anna Chlumsky movie. It's barely a Macaulay Culkin movie. Right. This is then. So I really did like this movie then. I thought it was super cute. I mean, I remember her, singing like, Bill, I love you. Yeah. So I love her crushing the teacher. I thought there were a lot of cute stuff in this movie to where it's like, how can you hate My Girl? It's like just a sweet little movie. And that's how I felt then. Christina, how about you? First time you saw this movie.
So I saw it. I did not see it in the movie theater.
Oh, sorry. Well,
I'm so sorry I had, a life. So I didn't always have 2.5 hours to spend at a movie theater back then. So it was a video. I don't remember who I saw it with, but I remember hearing a lot about it. And I mean, I guess that's not true. I don't think that's true at all. I don't remember hearing a lot about it, but I remember being kind of interested in it because this was Macaulay Culkin's follow-up to Home Alone.
Yes. In fact, really quick, as they were sort of wrapping this movie up, Home Alone was going crazy. And so what they did is they added 3 scenes of him. And on the movie poster, I forgot about this, but it's true. The headline was, Mac is back.
Oh, my.
And I know. Isn't that so weird? And like they were really pushing it, that Macaulay Culkin, he's the biggest little star at the time. And they made it, and he's more than half the poster.
Interesting.
And because Anna Chlumsky's sort of like leaning over, and it's like his face in the glasses.
In the back. Yeah.
It's so crazy. But yes, go ahead. But that's what was going on with him.
Right, and that is a bit of what I expected. I expected it to be a Macaulay Culkin movie. So when I saw it, I was like, what is this? I remember liking it, but I felt like I had been tricked. Not that I was this huge Macaulay Culkin fan. I was like, oh, it's Macaulay, I gotta watch it. But again, like you said, he was a big presence at that point in time. Yeah. And so I expected him to have a big role in this movie, and I just kept kind of almost like looking for him, like when is he coming in? Right. Because he's not in it very often. I don't even know if he has 30 lines. Yeah. I mean, he's a friend of the star. So I think I kind of had a bit of a negative-ish feeling because I felt like I had been swindled, if you will. And also the dark turn I didn't know about. Yeah. And that was very surprising. I appreciated it, but I also felt like, wait, this was a nice, happy feeling movie, and now I feel sad.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, what just happened? I will say, so I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Then.
Yeah. I will say I remembered it. So that's something.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just something. I do think I remembered most of it was his death in the movie.
Okay.
You know, that was kind of like the main part that I remembered. So, you know, I liked it. A solid like.
Okay. I definitely liked it more than you then.
Yeah.
So now we're jumping into now. When did you rewatch this?
I rewatched it a few days ago.
Okay.
And it was by myself.
Okay.
None of my family members wanted to watch it. In fact, interestingly enough, I had brought it home from the library, and Emily, my daughter, saw it, and she said, "Oh, I heard about that movie." And I'm like, "Oh, you want to watch it with me?" And she's like, "No, I heard it's really, really sad."
Yeah.
So that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, but yes, I watched it a couple days ago. When did you watch it?
A couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah. I had gone away, and so I went to watch it before. I didn't want to have to rush it and watch it, just a couple days before we recorded. So, so it is time to sit with me. I've had time to think about the My Girl experience.
Digest.
So let's dive in.
Okay.
My first note is, and this is a negative, but she talks directly to the screen. So she breaks the fourth wall. Yes. And she never does it again.
One and only time. I forgot all about it.
It's super weird.
I was like, what is this? I didn't remember her doing that.
No.
And I'm glad she didn't do it again.
She narrates, though, quite a bit. And a lot of it is nonsense. I just think they should have stripped that little moment. They should have stripped the narration. It wasn't needed, and I don't really know why.
Agreed.
Oh God, the music feels very Still Magnolias. And it's like very much pushing this, like, isn't this also whimsical, small town 70s adorable?
Yes.
And it's weird because what we're talking about with this, like, the sad downturn at the end. So the music is James Newton Howard. I mean, he's done things that like My Best Friend's Wedding and other things, but the music's laid on pretty.
Did he do Steel Magnolias?
I don't think so. Whoops. But but all that to say, I didn't really like the music. It was just so forced. So about the prostate cancer, what happens, so Vada, played by Anna Chlumsky, is the daughter of Dan Aykroyd, who runs a funeral parlor. And in the basement is essentially where they do the embalming, the makeup for the person to get them ready for the wake. And at one point, Anna Chlumsky's character says, prostate cancer, once it hits your prostate, you're a goner. And I am I actually currently am sitting here with prostate cancer, although it's not even stage 1. It's very early. I'm under active surveillance. It's all fine. But it's so funny. I was watching it with Carl, and he's like, oh my God. Like, it's like that thing.
Well, and maybe back then it was more of like, you're a goner.
In the 70s, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think because, medical science is so advanced, and like usually you get checkups, and I would imagine people don't really go to the doctors as much as they should. They go when something feels wrong. That's probably the bad, wrong time to go. Mine was found just really quick. Mine was just found in routine blood work. And it's a PSA level, and mine was super high. So, but I'm totally fine. And except for the cancer. No, but I'm under active surveillance. So I do blood work every 6 months. It's a thing.
You know what? I have heard pleas for listeners before, but this is really crossing a line, Brian.
There's a GoFundMe page. It's fine. No, I'm kidding. Can you imagine? Oh my God. Reopen Patreon. No, but it's good. It's like just routine blood work and MRIs occasionally. It's all good. I'm fine. So then Vada, one big thing about Vada, she runs, and I hope you understand this reference. She runs like Bob on Schitt's Creek.
Oh, totally.
She does this weird thing with her shoulders and her neck and her hands.
Yeah.
It's almost as if she has a T-Rex. Or what's the
T-Rex.
T-Rex with the little hands. Like, like living inside of her body. She runs so weird.
You know, I think it is. I'll tell
me.
you right now, because I noticed that too, and I'm like, what is she doing? I think because she's a kid.
Yeah.
She probably runs really fast.
Okay.
Just naturally.
Okay.
And I bet whenever she had some, like, running to do, the director was probably like, no, you have to slow it down. Fast. You're running too fast. You have to run, but not really run. And I think that's her way of running, but not really running. That's my guess.
What did you think about her running? Besides the fact that you thought it was...
Well, I just thought it was felt like a little unnatural. Yeah, okay. It just didn't feel natural.
Didn't feel natural, no.
Thank goodness she did a lot of bike riding.
Yes, I do. I liked the initial sort of interplay with Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Shelley, right? Is that her name, Shelley?
That's right.
And the dad when he's... And, like, you're not really... And I'm going to be honest, I think I got it quicker the first time I saw this movie. And this time around, it took me a little bit... Maybe because I knew the movie, but it was took me a little longer, like what she thought the place was. And then he's like, this is not a beauty parlor, it's a funeral parlor. And later on she says they're dead, all they've got left are their looks.
I love that. That was really funny.
I liked that exchange in the beginning. Oh God. What are some of your first notes? I'm going to be jumping a bit.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So my first note, of course, was the talking to the camera as well. I just didn't like that. I'm glad I didn't continue that. I forgot about the grandma.
Yes.
And I think when I thought about the grandma, I thought it was more like comic relief because she was kind of wandering around and singing and things like that. Yeah. And I remember when I first saw it, I thought that was funny. It hit me differently this time around. Yeah. It was, to me, middle-aged lens. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like sad. Yeah. So sad. And my first note was the grandma is so sad. And the relationship with Vada and the grandmother, to me, was so touching. And he talks a little bit more about that to the Shelley character further down the movie. Yeah. About how she had a very close relationship. And then now in the past couple of years, she's kind of has this dementia now. And to me, that hit me so differently now. So that was one of my first thoughts for my notes. Yeah. But also, I loved the Jamie Lee Curtis character coming in, Shelley. She's so different from everybody in this entire house. Like, everybody else in this house is obsessed with death, or at least, their world surrounds death. Yeah. It's a funeral home. And her mom died during childbirth, and he's depressed, clearly, and she, the grandmother's off in her world, and it was so nice to see Shelley come in and just, like, brighten up the world, but it's not, like, an obvious way.
We have exactly the same note.
Right? It's just, like, so subtle.
I kept thinking, like, oh my God, I could see, like, I don't know why I'm picking her, but Melanie Griffith, right? Yeah. Or Marissa Tomei. Right, like, they'd walk in and be like, oh my God, what you got here? Like, it's kind of like what we said about Rebecca De Mornay in Risky Business. Like, they have a lot to do with this character, like, change the tone, and in different ways, of course, but, like, Shelley, like, Jamie Lee Curtis has to change the tone of this whole house, to your point. But she's not this, like, gum snapping, zany, like, she's like, the only thing was, like, how she was dressed. But it's the 70s and that was her character. So I think it's like, but she wasn't like this movie character, where I would argue Vada is a movie character. On rewatch, middle-aged lens, this does not feel incredibly authentic to me, Vada as a character. And I think some of it's the acting. Sorry. Sorry, child. But it's like Anna Chlumsky. Her first acting role. Was it really? Yeah. Okay, so, but yeah, all that to say, I completely agree with you that Jamie Lee Curtis is like, she's like, she feels very lived in, like very real, and it doesn't feel like a movie gimmick. Like, we're actually just learning through her, this family, which is I think the right way to do that. Yeah. And
you find out that she does have a little bit of a darker past. So she's not all roses and sunshine. Right. But yeah, I really liked the naturalness. And I loved the chemistry between her and Dan Aykroyd.
Okay,
you didn't like it?
Why did she like him?
Well, so it's funny you say that, because when I first saw the movie, I thought, why does she like him? Like, why is she attracted to him?
Yeah.
And honestly, and actually, I think this is Dan Aykroyd's comeback after being away from the. I think this is kind of like one of his, like a comeback from him.
Okay.
But anyway,
I don't know.
I kind of look. So it's a memory thing. So it may be wrong, but but I remember when I watched it the first time, I was like, she is so young, and he's so old, and why would she be interested in him?
Yeah.
And this time around, they look a lot closer in age.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think he looks.
I really feel like But I could see the attraction. Well, obviously, he's attracted to her. Like, how could not? She's gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
But I could see her attraction because I'm looking at it from, like, her point of view. She's kind of walking in and she's seeing this family.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little dysfunctional, so it's not so in her face. So I could see it being more approachable. And I think she, like, respects him as a person. I think she respects his professionalism. She's probably someone that people hit on all the time.
And he doesn't.
And, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I could see why she was attracted to him. He's a straight shooter. He's a little bit shy, but he's...
Yeah.
He's
stable.
I just kind of like him.
He's stable. I'm sorry. So my issue was, I just kept writing it. I was like, Shelley can do way better. He's an emotionally unavailable, tuba-playing, bad father. I said, Dan Aykroyd is good in this. Mm-hmm. His character is just not likable. He's so hands-off with Vada that I feel like that would be a big turnoff. Hasn't given much to Shelley to work with at all. She's having to do a lot of the heavy lifting in these flirtations, if you will. But yeah, I appreciate your description of it and your explanation of it. What I thought you were going to say is, like, she feels bad for him, but you didn't. But I was like, because that was my thought. I was like, does she just feel bad for him? But it's like, because that's not love. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. I had a harder time this time around than before. I
think that she appreciated the fact that he wasn't, like, hitting on her. I think that probably
that's
doesn't
a low
happen
bar.
very often.
It's a low bar to like someone.
But you know what, though? Yeah. Like, if someone's just liking you for your looks...
Yeah.
Do you know, like, I think that would be something that would turn you off eventually.
Yeah.
You know? And And he has shown caring towards his mom.
Yeah, the tuba playing is very sweet.
He definitely
you mentioned the Vada and grandmother stuff. That him and the grandmother stuff is very sweet.
Yeah.
He really is very concerned about her.
So he's not super close. He's not, like, mean or
he's
negative.
So
he's just sort of closed off.
She appreciates... Well, I'm not gonna because I don't believe that. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not finished. No, I think I was gonna say she appreciates the way he treats other people, but I think that's not really true because he treats Vada like she barely exists. Mm-hmm. So I have a couple more little, just funny movie things. Yeah. There's always that one guy where Vada and Thomas J are somewhere, right? And there's that guy. What the hell are you doing in my garage? Get out of here. And it's like, here we go again. Stand By Me, The Good Son, The Goonies. There's, like, always that guy. And quite frankly, it always sounds like the same guy. He always has this almost like Boston accent, no matter where the story takes place. And he's so mad that these kids... Get out of here, kids. Like, and it doesn't matter where the story takes place. That's how he sounds. And he's just so mad. And it's like, okay, you know, maybe he has yelled this 25 times. We don't know, but he's mad.
Have you ever been yelled at as a child? To
Constantly.
Get out of there?
Oh my God, always.
Yeah.
So we're like, Mom, I live here. Yeah.
That's great.
I just wrote, I hope Vada's dad has good health insurance.
Oh my God! That's
to me.
Thing.
I know that to me though is a middle-aged lens. This girl just runs into the local doctor's office every day. Mm-hmm. I have prostate cancer. I have this. I have that. I think I have this. And the doctor does spend time with her.
Yeah.
And tries to calm her down. nice doctor. I think, like, that's one thing.
And the receptionist is very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small
Vada.
town.
They feel for her.
They probably
know
feel bad.
Yeah.
They never had a mom. She never had a mom.
Right.
Like, you get the sense, and they're the funeral home in town. Like, you get the sense that he's well respected in the community.
Yes.
And well liked. So that was funny too. I was laughing at that. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I laughed out loud when, again, that scene with she's singing Billy, I Love You So I Always Will. And they show her class picture, and she is staring at her teacher,
oh my gosh.
played by Griffin Dunn, I believe.
Yes.
And so cute. That was, to me, that may have been the biggest laugh I got in this movie.
Okay.
I like that.
So here's, you may not like my next comment.
Oh, no.
So you said you didn't really love her acting. I actually thought she was pretty good in this.
Okay.
I thought she was great. I mean, I in the back of my mind, I was probably thinking first acting job.
Yeah.
But still, I thought that she was cute. I thought some of the problems I had were when she was over the top. And this was one of those things. This is one of the scenes when she was singing. Another one was when she was trying on all the makeup and she's doing her little shimmy out of the house. There were a couple of moments where I was like, it was not needed. I think it would have been a better, like, character if she didn't have those crazy things.
So, again, I watched this a couple weeks ago, so I forgot my note. I wrote, Vada's physicality is so unusual at times. Very theater, shimmying.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But no, I'm talking about the picture.
I know, when she has her...
Yeah, I'm not talking about her dancing around the room.
So, I think they did that as a way to tell us that she has a crush on him, which was, to me, I'm like, you could tell she had a crush on him just from conversation.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of those things where, like, that was not necessary. Like, she did not have to run back to her house and sing to the picture. It didn't seem like something Vada would do. She's already, like, I don't know. It just didn't sit well with me. I didn't like it.
Huh. This is great. The acting of the bullies, the girl bullies, is
stupid,
rough.
atrocious.
Rough. How about the one girl that actually felt bad for her?
Judy.
In walking slowly and looking at her sadly. I'm like, really? And then the only thing I thought was a little slightly amusing about that was when they're like, Kissi. And she goes, you think I'd kiss him?
I know.
That ugly thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And they cut to Macaulay Culkin's face.
And he has like a look.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we can talk about Macaulay.
Oh, we'll get there, yeah. Okay, so I have a big negative. And I'm curious to see.
I bet I have the same note. If you're writing notes in chronological
order, I couldn't stand the chaos of the table scene where.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because when she's like, I think it's my prostate, and then, who could ask for anything more? And the brothers are talking about corpses, and Vada's on the floor, and Jamie Lee Curtis just looks at them like, this family, and I wrote, I agree, like. Her face is exactly how I felt, to be honest, through most of the movie. Like, something didn't work this well through my middle-age lens. It just felt, this family, God bless, it just felt a little too, so isolating. Like, each character that I'm like, I don't know. I struggled with the family, not dynamics. I think the characters of the family.
So I kind of chuckled during that scene.
Okay.
And I don't know. I didn't feel like it was that bad.
Okay.
And what made me love actually the scene was Jamie Lee Curtis's look.
Yeah, that's the
like,
plus.
That made me so happy when she was just like, what in the hell did I get involved in? But I also believed that was happening because this is just the way that they do business. Like, this is just their everyday life. Vada is afflicted with something imaginary. The two of them are just business. Yeah. Business, because they're not paying attention to the family. And then the grandmother is just singing songs. I believed that would be an actual scene in that house. Like, I believed, like, every day is probably like that.
Yeah.
So, to me, it felt okay.
I didn't. I had a harder time with it. And I think maybe it's because I was not on the Dan Aykroyd train. I liked his performance. Didn't like the character. And I knew where it was going, so I was like, oh my God, like this is just a hard sell for Shelley.
Yeah.
And so I liked her looks, her looks that she was giving the family, but it was just a lot at once. It's like that thing that I complain about with 80s movies, like
80s chaos.
Chaos. Yeah. And it's like, oh my God.
But I thought this was warranted. Like, that's the whole thing about, like, I agree with you with the chaos in the 80s movies and stuff. Like, it's like there's a car accident outside and there's a waitress. Like,
so
I
here's the
agree
thing.
with
You know
that
what?
part.
Fine. The thing that bothered me most, the brothers talking. So you have your daughter on the floor doing her death scene the way she usually does. The mother's singing the song. And they're just having a conversation. Are we led to believe that, like, the father... Because we just talked about the fact that he, you know, it's like that he does care for the mother, or at least I said that. But it's like, they've sort of kept talking with his daughter laying on the floor. I mean, faking.
But she does it all the time.
I know. I don't
like,
know.
I think it would have been weirder if they stopped talking and he was like,
and like actually
what's
cared.
going on? Like, why is today different?
That's true.
Like, it just felt normal.
You're right, and I still didn't like it.
Thank you. What was surprising?
Yes, tell me.
I thought that whole scene with her playing the basketball and the basketball goes down into the basement, that was unrealistic to me.
Completely. Right?
First of all, why is the door open? Like, there's got to be a health code violation there, right? I mean, what? There's a dead person downstairs lying on a table.
Yeah.
And they're just going to leave the door open?
Right.
For anybody, like a mailman could come in.
Right.
Like, that is a health code violation. That would not happen. Number two, are we to believe that in the entire 11 and a half years that Vada has lived in this house, she has not
been alone down there?
Gone downstairs? Like,
they showed her going downstairs in the very beginning.
Yes, and I get, and that's the other thing, like, yes, they did.
She shouldn't have been that scared.
But it shouldn't have been weird.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be weird to her. A
That's
dead body should not be a big deal.
Yeah.
At all.
I completely 100% agree. I thought that was just a stupid movie moment.
Yeah. Really, really crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it did illustrate to Shelley's character that Vada has a very varied grip on death.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, if her dad's there, she can talk in front of a corpse. Other time, like, if she's down there by herself, she has a nervous breakdown. So what is really going on with Vada? I completely agree, though. That was a lot. It's like, yeah, I agree. I was wait, that's never happened before? It's never happened before? He's never said, Vada, can you run downstairs and grab me a blankety blank? Like, that's never happened. So it's weird.
Bizarre. Really bizarre.
The makeup scene, I think she reads the line wrong. Because it's, so Shelley is sharing with Vada that she had a dream of wanting to do Hollywood movie stars makeup.
Yes.
So she does Vada's makeup. And Vada, it's just a weird little acting choice. Like, she says something along the lines of, I wouldn't plan...
Shelley, I would definitely hold off on that Hollywood thing.
That's an insult.
Yeah.
She doesn't say it like an insult. It's weird. Her line reading is really strange. It almost sounded like a compliment. Because then she goes outside and she does the shimmying. Yeah. With the makeup. So does she not like it or does she like it? It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird too because you get the impression that she didn't like it.
Oh, right. Or the flip side is that they were bonding and she says something rude. So that was just a weird one. Yeah. Didn't like that.
So the cookie jar.
Yes.
Do you know the backstory behind that?
Within the movie? What do you mean? Yeah. No, I don't know what you're about to say, so I don't know.
I guess you're going to say, well, you would know.
I don't want to say I don't know, okay? Because I might know.
So the cookie jar was filled with money.
Yes.
Yes. So behind the scenes on the set, Jamie Lee Curtis would swear like a truck driver.
Oh, I did know this, yeah.
And every time she swore, she had to put money in that cookie jar.
That was the cookie jar?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't make that connection. That's cute? So funny.
Yeah.
That's cute. Oh God. So
what'd you think of the writing class? That whole situation.
Really awkward.
Right?
With a child
I thought it was very odd.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
Like, a child can just walk in and hand $35 worth of cash to somebody, like, who knows? Like, that's usually something that needs to be done before the class starts. There's usually, like, administration or something.
Yes.
So that was odd to begin with. The fact that she's, like, walking in to this room of adults, and they like let her stay. It's kind of weird. And then the very next thing that's said is that hippie girl has this sex
and
poem.
drugs poem.
All about sex and drugs. Yeah. Like, what? Wouldn't she realize that she has to edit herself in front of this like 11-year-old child?
I know.
Like, come on.
Although the thing is that guy who's been in a million sitcoms, I don't know, I forget what his name is.
Oh, his name is Tom Villard.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
And he was the one that sort of pushed that she should stay.
Yes.
He's like, hey man, it's her dream kind of thing, right?
So I have a note about him too. He's very creepy. He comes off as very creepy pedophile-y. Did you get that? He's constantly looking at her, gazing at her with this big smile on his face. He's like, let her stay. There's another part where he says, you have to feel my aura.
Yeah.
Just so many of these things, never picked up on it before. I don't think it's supposed to be that way. No. But as a middle-aged lens, I'm looking at it and I'm like, this guy seems awful creepy to me. And the only other thing I'm going to say, I know you have something to say.
No,
the only other thing I'm going to say about this writing class, did they like just do a casting call for like, I need every different type of person imaginable. So we have an old person, we have a young person, we have a housewife, we have a hippie, we have a business person, we have a mechanic. It was like, what the hell? Like, what class is ever made up like that?
I know. I will say I've taken a number of writing classes, and you do get a mixed bag. Okay. You really do. You get people in their 20s, you get people in their 60s. You really do. People that have never written a word, people that write but want to do a different kind of writing. Yeah, you get some interesting people.
It was very interesting to me. Yeah. Like, it looks like an after-school special, like, with all, like, the different... different ways.
Yeah, I think what I liked was that Vada, thinking... Because she believes she loves him. Right. So now she's in a room with adults, and they're talking about sex and love and passion and all these things. And what was weirder to me is I felt he was kind of hard on her with his critique. Like...
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, on one hand, I appreciated it. This movie's a mixed bag for me. I have to be honest. Like, on the one hand, I was like, oh, you know what? He's really holding her feet to the fire, and she's like this young little girl, like saying, like, feel your soul, Vada. Like, what's in your soul? And my bigger argument is later on
when she
writes
this amazing adult poem.
Well, here's the thing. Not so much that. Which I kind of had to believe maybe Shelley helped her with that. My thing is this, and by the way, this happens in writing classes, people.
Yeah.
She walks in fucking late. Hi, I just want to read my poem, and I can't stay long. You bitch. That happens a lot. People come in late, they have to read their poem, and then they have to go somewhere. And it's like, what? We have to sit here and listen to your garbage, but you don't have to listen to our garbage.
That's obnoxious.
So rude, so obnoxious. I feel like one or the other, Vada. Either you're on time and you go first and then you go, or you are late, you give your poem, and then you sit down and watch everyone else. I think what she did is so rude, and I didn't agree. I didn't appreciate it at all. There, I said it.
All right, I agree with you with that one.
And I know that's the end of the movie, but. So then I just wrote, again, the same note about Shelley and the lack of chemistry, to a degree. And especially in the beginning with Dan Aykroyd. But I did say, even the bingo scene, Shelley says something sort of funny, sweet, vulnerable, and he barely reacts. Now, he does say why he barely reacts in the bus, or in her camper. But I think as a viewer, through a middle-aged lens, I'm just was consistently shocked Shelley was still pushing this.
Yeah.
Because, like...
That, I felt that as also,
yeah.
he didn't give much.
Yeah.
But I think those little kernels were enough for her. Mm-hmm. It almost was, like, challenging for her, which is probably the first time it's happened.
Couple of quick scenes that I remember being so much funnier in the movie theater that I was, like, almost annoyed by this time around. The grocery shopping... So Vada, for some reason, now that they're together, Vada's not happy about it. And she starts slamming, like, the cans.
And it doesn't make sense. Like, why is she upset?
Shelley's awesome.
Shelley's awesome. She likes Shelley.
Vada says she spends time with Vada.
She never knew her mother. Like,
Yeah.
is this all of a sudden now she's 11 and a half and now like, oh, I miss my mother, who I've never known?
Also,
It's bizarre.
the father barely spends a second with her. So, like, wouldn't she like this attention and this warmth?
Something was missing there. Like, he should have had a closer relationship with Vada at the beginning, and then maybe started like spending more time with Shelley, and then that would make sense for her to be jealous or something. But it didn't make any sense for her to be so jealous and angry about She should be happy about this.
Yeah, someone didn't think this through in the screenplay.
Yeah.
But and then the other one, I remember this being so damn funny. The bumper cars. It was boring.
Yeah.
The only
it went
thing...
on forever.
It did. The only thing that made it funny was the Bad Moon Rising song. Like, but in the movie theater, I remember laughing. I remember the audience laughing. That was such a highlight of, like, basically Vada trying to consistently smash into Shelley's car over and over. It just doesn't work.
No, it really doesn't work.
And I don't know why. Because I feel like I've seen this movie on VHS or cable back in the day, and I feel like that scene still worked. For some reason, this time around, it was kind of boring.
The other thing was, I wish Shelley never got visibly upset. Like, she had, like, these, like, upset kind of faces. I wish she had continued to just laugh and have a great time through the whole thing. Yeah. That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But, because I'm like, you're in bumper cars. You guys were talking about bumping into each other. Like, what do you think you're going to do in this thing? Although, you know, I don't think... I've been in bumper cars before, and I've never been able to smash the one car over and over and over and over again like that. But
okay. Another laugh out loud moment.
Mm-hmm.
An intentional one, so there were some accidental ones. Vada Sultenfuss. Tough break, kid.
Oh my god, no. How funny is that? It's like, I like my name.
So basically, Shelley's husband comes to, he tracked her down. Ex-husband. Tracks her. But are they? I thought that was the thing. Like, it wasn't final, or...
No, that was final.
It was final?
She just took
she stole the camper. Yeah, okay. So that was funny, and I did like the punch in the gut. Mm-hmm. That made me like Dan Aykroyd's character more.
Yeah.
And then right in the middle of this, I wrote, Macaulay Culkin does a great job reading the script. I mean acting.
All right.
We have to talk about it.
So I wrote, Macaulay Culkin, he's pretty stiff. Yeah. He doesn't seem to have
Christina.
any... Oh, this is before he dies. Doesn't seem to have any direction. And he pales in comparison to Anna. Mm-hmm. And I know you didn't think she did a great job acting. Mm-hmm. I disagreed with that. Mm-hmm. I think with the two of them in scenes together, she's great. And he is just sitting there. I got the impression, and maybe this isn't true.
Okay.
And I might have, like, the time frame might be off too, because I guess when they were filming, I mean, maybe not. As far as, like, the Home Alone stuff and him becoming a big star, right? And now he has this other movie. Mm-hmm. My vision of this was his father standing there behind the scenes and being like a tyrant. And being like, you will not tell my son what to do. He's perfect. He's fine. Blah. Like, I could just imagine that. And people were so afraid that they were going to pull Macaulay out of the movie that they would just don't give him any direction. Just let him do his thing. His name's going to be enough. So that's what I envisioned. Of course, I have nothing backing this up. This is just something it looked to me like that was happening. Yeah. Because this kid, he was not good.
Yeah, I agree. Stiff is the word.
He was not good. It was like he just read the line.
And you know, the interesting thing about that is that what my argument was with Anna Chlumsky is that she was so showy. So when you have someone who's like on all cylinders, like the whole thing with like, don't come back for 5 to 7 days when she gets her period.
That was a bit much, yeah.
You have that energy who's so up, on top of it, and then you have this kid who's just sort of coasting, I should say. Like that, it's more obvious. Both are more obvious. Like, I feel like she's a little overdoing it, and he's way underdoing it. I did think their kissing scene in the Pledge of Allegiance was cute. I thought that was fun.
Very cute.
That felt like something kids would do, like to shake off the weird awkwardness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I thought that was really cute too. I forgot about that.
The following scene is less cute when he's like, Vada, yeah. She like stops the bike and turns around. He's like, would you think of me? And I wrote, oh, brother.
No.
Listen, Christina, if you ever said to me, Brian, would you think of me? I'm like, oh, girl, you're going to die. Like, I don't even want to answer because you just wrote your own death sentence.
Oh
like,
God.
I just wrote, oh, brother, he's going to die. Who talks like that? Would you think of me?
No one would ever say those words. He probably ad-libbed that one.
Well, so it's like, you know, and then she's like, yeah, she has that weird little smile. I mean, whatever.
So unnecessary. So unnecessary. One little note I wrote down here is, do we have any issues with the boss and employee getting involved? Like, that's never addressed, that she works for him and they're, like, dating.
My thought was that,
thing.
right, my thought was, too, is it is over the course of so many weeks or months.
Yeah, did we have a timeline on that?
Know.
Because they got engaged pretty quickly.
Yeah, that I don't know. It didn't bother me that they were, you know, employee and boss.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me because I felt like she was leading that relationship. If he was super flirtatious, if he was initiating,
yeah,
I'd be like, oh, that's a little awkward. But she's initiating everything. Oh God, here we go. Vada is a little slow on the draw with the whole bees and Thomas J realization.
Well, can we go back first? Because, yes, I agree with that. Because I have a beehive situation as well.
Yeah.
They're screwing around with a beehive.
Yeah.
They're kicking it. He's squirting water or something at it, right?
Yeah.
He's doing something. Kick it. And all of a sudden, they see the bees. They're like, they're alive. I'm like, oh, it's a fucking beehive. What do you think is going to happen? Are you guys idiots?
And also, he's so concerned about all these other things he's allergic to. He's allergic to bees. He knows this. And he's just like, kind of like,
I'm gonna,
yeah,
let's play catch.
And then,
let's play catch with the beehive.
And also, the movie is so, that goddamn music. Like, it's like, the bees are chasing them, and here's the music. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. So it's obviously, you know, they're not going to get stung by the bees that time around. But then, of course, to make great, perfect sense, he goes alone in the woods and he finds the ring. He
wants to find the ring.
The mood ring, and he finds it. And then do the bees just appear out of nowhere, or does he kick it or something? Does he do something again to initiate the bees?
I forget if he does something again.
And then it's the slow motion, and then the glasses fall on the ground.
Fall. Go on. I'm so sorry. So her reaction.
No, her reaction is a little slow. So is he going to be a little... It's like, Thomas J. was attacked by bees. So he's going to be a little late today? Oh, Thomas J. He's so funny.
Should I go yell at him?
There were Sweetie, there were just too many bees. Oh, that kid. It's like, honey, she's just not getting it.
He's dead!
And then her face, and I don't know if they're waiting for her to shed a tear, but no tears were coming. And it just all cannonballs after that. I mean, this movie. So I am really sorry. I'm going to go to hell. I don't have children, but I just want to say, I think an open casket for a child that has been attacked by bees with bee bites, bee stings all over his face, to have an open casket is definitely an interesting choice.
Terrible idea. Terrible idea.
And they kept cutting to his face. Like, the camera. Like, who thought this was a good idea?
Well, and also, I mean, I think they could have done a little bit better with the covering up the bees. Like, that was for
Come on, Shelley. I mean, really.
Honestly.
Shelley.
So did Shelley have to do it?
She wants to do Hollywood makeup. She can't cover up a couple bee stings.
I had a big problem with the fact that they even had him at that funeral home. His best friend lives there, and you're going to bring this poor dead child in. I thought that was really, really...
Well, to me it was weird, too, when there was like, thanks for doing this so quickly. Why? I mean, like, to me, it would be so... I mean, again, I'm not a parent, but to me, it would be so shocking. I mean, would you, like, expedite your child's funeral? That's a lot.
Yeah.
And I do think one of the best scenes in the movie is when the mom bumps into Vada.
That was really
That
sweet.
was very sweet. That kind of broke my heart a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the camera stays on her as she's walking alone down the street. And that was very sad to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very sad.
But I do think, going back to Thomas J's funeral, side note, that lectern, did you notice how wobbly it was? It's such a side note. But it's like, I think it was in it fell over. So Vada walks into the funeral parlor, and she's like, where are his glasses? He can't see with his glasses. Thomas J, let's go play. We can ride bikes. Blah, 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 blah. And then Dan Aykroyd's character, with the subtlety of a friggin' dump truck driving through a flower shop, he's like, he's dead, sweetie. He's gone. He kicked the bucket, sweetie. Like, I mean, it's like he's saying everything, every way a person could die. And then I added some.
Oh, no.
He bit the big one, honey. And they're like grabbing Vada, pulling her away. He bought the farm.
Oh, my God. You know what it reminds me of?
He's toast.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
In Airplane, when the woman is having a fit, and everyone is like smacking her or whatever, like shaking her. Calm down, calm down.
Oh, my God. Speaking of, Grandma. Was that woman the woman who killed herself in the plane?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. So I thought that was a lot for him to be yelling, like, he's dead, he's gone, honey, he's dead. It's like, wow, I started laughing. I did.
God.
It was a lot. I laughed. Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
So Vada stays in her room for a little bit, and then she comes out. I laughed out loud. I wrote, she comes strolling out of the room looking about 40 years old and hungover. I don't know who called this for her, but she looks awful. And it made me question Shelley and the father.
Yeah.
They seemed a little comfortable with their daughter locking herself, or not locking herself in a room. The door was unlocked. Bringing her food and letting her be there. I mean, I get it and I don't. Yeah. I think there's a little of that, sure, but I mean, she looked like she hadn't even bathed or anything. It was a bit much. And then I just wrote, I bet you'd like some makeup now, eh, Vada?
Oh.
Then she tells Shelley she stole the money, and Shelley didn't even say, like, you know, it's okay, you can pay me back. I'd be like, well, you can pay me.
Well, she's been through a lot, Brian. Jesus. Give her the $35 fucking dollars. What I was thinking, actually, when she said that, I was thinking it would have been nicer for her to say, well, you know, you can, like, work it off or something. Like, you can do some chores or something.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think that would have been an appropriate response.
Yeah, stealing's wrong. You don't get...
Well, coming from a woman who stole a camper.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. I did like that scene with the mom.
Yes.
Right? But there's only one thing I thought of. So now Vada actually kind of turned around quickly. Like when she left the room, she was like, all the grief has been put behind her, and she's off to riding bikes and stuff and having fun. And so it's like, is it the last scene? It's one of the last scenes with the mom coming.
Yeah.
And she gives her the ring.
Yeah.
And all I could think of was, well, now she's gonna really think it's her fault. Like she's already blaming herself for her mother's death and probably everybody else's. And here we go. Oh, Thomas had this on him, which meant he went to that beehive to get your ring. So you are the reason he died.
She is the reason he died.
It's only a matter of time before she puts that together.
Yeah, she's absolutely the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did think it was sweet when she said that her mom will take care of him.
That was really sweet.
In heaven, yeah.
That was very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do get the sense that she will visit him, like the mom. Like Vada will visit the mom.
Oh, yes, for sure. Yeah.
I really feel like they will continue that.
Believe it or not, I have some trivia, and of course I have my match game. But so,
I
do you
don't
have
have any other notes. No.
More, less, about the same.
I think I liked it a little bit more.
Wow.
Truly, yeah.
I sadly liked it quite a bit less. The music, the uneven acting by the kids, and that narration. So it's a less for me.
Yeah, I liked it. I actually appreciated the acting. I liked her acting. Yeah. I liked Jamie Lee Curtis and Dan Aykroyd seemed more realistic through this lens now. I actually liked Richard Mazur too. He as the brother. I thought they were realistic brothers. I liked their little scenes together. Like I actually liked it a lot. I liked it more this time around.
Yeah. Budget $17 million. Box office, worldwide box office, $121 million.
Wow.
So it's crazy. Macaulay Culkin was paid $1 million for this. Movie posters, again, Mac is back. They added 3 more scenes after Home Alone took off. And that's all my trivia. I have a match game.
I have a match game as well.
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay,
so we all know that Vada has a very unhealthy obsession with death.
Yes.
And I really feel like they should have known. The father and the uncle should have known.
Why?
I mean, their first clue should have been when she named her doll blank.
Ding.
I'm writing mine down too.
Oh, shit. Okay.
All right. So they really should have known about Vada's unhealthy obsession when she named her doll
the Grim Reaper.
Oh, I love it. I knew this wasn't going to be a match because it's kind of off in left field, but Dr. Kevorkian.
That's very good. Very good.
Thank
All right,
you.
ready for mine?
Yes.
Well, the Sultenfuss household was so gloomy.
How gloomy was it?
For breakfast, you only had 2 choices of cereal. Instead of life cereal, there was death cereal. And the only other choice was blank of wheat.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, blank. All right, so they had death cereal.
Instead of life cereal.
Instead of life cereal.
The only other cereal they had was blank of wheat.
This is not going to Ding.
All right, blank of wheat.
Stalks of wheat. So they just had to eat like stalks of wheat instead of
cremation. Like cream of wheat, cremation of wheat. It's one of those, if you got it or you don't.
I think you made that question up just because you had a good answer.
Of course. You don't think the show does
Wrong.
that? There's always that one amazing answer sometimes. I thought, Christina, I really thought you were going to nail it. I thought you were going to get that one. I really did.
Cremation of wheat.
Like cream of wheat.
It's very cute. Yeah, I like it. Well,
that was so right now, My Girl is on HBO Max. We disagree. I don't think we've disagreed this much.
Not in a long time.
In a long time. So if you happen to catch it on HBO Max or rent it from your local library, shoot us an email, oldroommatespod@gmail.com, and let us know what you think, because we don't usually disagree this much. We disagreed at both. And
I would be interested to know also if you liked it before.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that has a lot to do with it. Like I wasn't crazy about it last time.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked at it through new lens, and I liked it. You loved it, like it's
and
now you're looking at it, and so it's kind of an interesting switch. So I'd be curious to know if you liked it, or didn't like it, and how you felt about the rewatch. Yeah. Very curious about that.
And of course, you can always reach out to us at Old Roommates on Instagram.
Yes, and
right. that was My Girl.
My Girl.
And that's it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates.
Thank you for listening. Please remember to follow us on Instagram or YouTube, where we have our episodes as well as a little extra.
And if you have any questions about our show, any suggestions for movies we could revisit, reach out to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
Thanks again for listening.
This is Brian.
And this is Christina. Until next time.